Sometimes transitions take time, often with failures along the way. But in the end, those failures can breed success. In 2018, the 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh's defense bottomed out in his second year. His defense ranked 28th in points allowed and was dead last in takeaways with only 2 interceptions and 5 forced fumbles. Obviously, something needed to change, and damn, did it ever. This year, the 49ers have 2 more takeaways per game, they're second in total defense by 1 yard to the Patriots, and they have an 11% sack rate. Back when Saleh got his start, he was taking classes at Legion of Boom University with the Seahawks during their incredible run, and then he followed ex-Seahawks defensive coordinator Gus Bradley to Jacksonville, where they straight up copied the Seahawks scheme. Saleh was convinced that this was the blueprint to defensive success. When he became the 49ers defensive coordinator in 2017, he was trying so hard to replicate the Legion of Boom, he even signed their cornerback to anchor the left side of his defense in the infamous Seahawks cover 3 zone. This defense required 5 men on the line of scrimmage, which forced the strong safety Cam Chancellor into the box and out of the middle of the field. The scheme largely worked because free safety Earl Thomas could cover so much ground in the deep and intermediate middle of the field. Saleh wanted so badly to copy and paste the Legion of Boom into San Francisco, but the very core of Seattle's defense was the reliance on talent over scheme. San Francisco in past years has not had near the talent those Seattle teams boasted, and that was pretty evident watching the 49ers the last 2 years on Saleh's watch. Before 2019, the 49ers would play exactly the same way. They would also put 5 on the line, forcing their strong safety into the box, and they played a ton of one-high safety just like the Seahawks. This prevented them from disguising coverages or rolling safeties at the snap, making their defense extremely vanilla. So what has changed in 2019? Saleh brought in several new coaches, including Chris Kosurik, to implement the wide 9 defense. We talked a lot about the wide 9 last week in my Nick Bosa video, which I'll link on the screen here, but for a quick refresher, it's taking a defensive end who usually lines up on top of the offensive tackle and moves him a few feet outside into the 9 technique, which is outside of the tight end shoulder. Sometimes only one end will be in the 9 technique, other times both will be, and ultimately what it does is create better angles for those wide speed rushers to attack offensive tackles and get to the quarterback. But this alignment doesn't just help the defensive line in pass rush, it philosophically has ripple effects throughout every level of this 49ers defense. For starters, it takes a linebacker off the line of scrimmage and only rushes 4, stacking the 49ers 3 linebackers behind them in what's called a 4-3 stack defense. This frees the linebackers to play off the ball and in space, and with that extra linebacker, this lessens the ground that the others have to cover. Additionally, this defense allows the strong safety to be taken out of the box and is free to play all over the field. With 2 safeties deep instead of just 1, this enables the defense to vary their coverage infinitely more. Sure, everyone wants to talk about this team's defensive line, but they can run a field as fast as they want. If you don't have disciplined, athletic linebackers who are strong at the point of attack and aren't able to read their run keys correctly, this scheme is doomed to fail. For us to gain a better understanding of why the 49ers are so successful, we first need to understand how offenses try to attack them and then get annihilated. In week 1, the Buccaneers attacked the main weakness of the wide 9, which is the gaping holes on the line of scrimmage. Because of how far outside the 9 technique aligns, this creates cavernous holes along the line of scrimmage for the offense to run through. This has scared the living crap out of organizations from even thinking of implementing this defense. Each gap has a corresponding letter. The A gap is to the right and left of the center, the B gap to the right of the guards, and so on. Offensive running games and run schemes are designed around attacking certain gaps, and defenses try to fill and penetrate those gaps to stop them. The wide 9 takes care of the outside C or D gaps, depending if there's a tight end, which heavily discourages teams like the Rams from running outside wide. The wide 9 will funnel runs inside to the teeth of the defense, but requires agile linebackers to fill those inside gaps. The Bucs are 100% aware of this. Their game plan is to attack these gigantic gaps. They are running a play called duo, which double teams the two defensive tackles in the A and B gap, basically telling the 49ers linebacker group, come and get us. You can see the B, A, and C gap open freely for the linebackers to flow through. They have to aggressively attack the line of scrimmage. On this play, they aren't quite aggressive enough to fill those gaps. Peyton Barber does a nice job of pressing the hole to draw the linebacker in, and then bounces through that vacated play side B gap. A nice run, but one that pretty much stopped working right then and there. You can see how quick and athletic these linebackers are when filling these gaps. They need to be extremely active in the run game for the wide nine to work. The Browns are also running duo to try and get rid of the defensive tackles DeForest Buckner and Solomon Thomas to expose the linebackers and break Nick Chubb open down the field. You know when you're watching a fast linebacker. The running back has 3 gaps open, and the 49ers have 3 defenders ready to slam them closed. Quan Alexander fills the B gap in a heartbeat, Fred Warner hops into the strong side A gap, and safety Jaquiski Tart, who plays the third linebacker against certain personnel groups, darts past Jarvis Landry to fill the C gap and make the tackle. This defense is fast, and running the ball against them is like running inside an elevator. Well then, why doesn't every team implement the wide nine? It helps the pass rush and the run game, but many fired defensive coordinators will tell you that play action eats this system alive. With such a heavy reliance on the linebackers to fill those gaps in the run game, they need to be quick to fill those gaps the moment they sense run. On the very next play, the Browns know the 49ers will still be in their 4-3 stack wide nine, and those linebackers will be flowing hard downfield on any hint of a run. They run duo once again to look exactly like the previous play, and the line opens up the same gaps for the linebackers to shoot, but it's a play action. So if I'm the quarterback, I'll just whiz a curl behind the linebacker when he bites hard on the play fake, right? Nope, not these guys. The moment Baker takes his first step back to fake this handoff, instead of flying forward, the 2 linebackers begin to drop. You can see Dre Greenlaw keying the right guard and Fred Warner keying the center. When the linemen don't fire off the ball to combo block the defensive tackle into the dirt, the linebackers know the offensive line is blocking for a pass. This is unreal recognition by Greenlaw and Warner is someone I want to focus on because he truly reminds me of Navarro Bowman. He is that good. To illustrate how good, we can look at a play in the red zone against the Rams. It's 1st and 10, tied 7-7. The Rams are running an air raid staple called mesh halfback wheel. The goal of this play is to have tight end Tyler Higbee run him and his man to pick off Fred Warner to clear out the coverage for Cooper Kupp underneath. The 49ers are playing a coverage that mesh would normally succeed against. They are in cover 1 hole, which has a deep safety in the middle, and Warner playing the low hole or rat technique to take away any crossing routes in front of him. Even if Higbee doesn't pick off the linebacker, scheming the speedy slot man Cooper Kupp one-on-one onto a linebacker in the tight confines of the red zone is exactly what an offense desires. McVay knows precisely what he's doing here, but so does Robert Saleh. He boldly trusts that Warner will be able to evade the mesh point and be quick enough to run with the speedy Kupp. Warner doesn't need to even look at Higbee to slide out of his way. Kupp is running at full speed unhindered, so Warner starts to run when Kupp is even with him. He doesn't allow an angle whatsoever and doesn't allow Kupp to scoot up the sideline for a touchdown. On this drive, the 49ers ultimately stuffed them at the goal line. Not only was this a critical play on a critical drive, the Rams literally didn't score another point the entire game. This change in scheme helps the backside of the defense as well. With the strong safety not forced to stay in the box, he is freer to roam around, so Saleh can more easily disguise his defense and play more cover 2 man, cover 4, cover 6, etc. He can roll safeties late into the box or drop a safety deep in the snap. These very defensive looks are much more difficult on the quarterback than in previous years. At first, this play looks like the regular cover 3 zone that they've been playing for the past 2 seasons. The one high safety has the deep middle third and the 2 corners have the deep thirds up the sidelines. But at the snap, they blitz the left side and drop a defensive back into cover 2 zone. But this isn't any cover 2 zone. They're playing what's called cover 2 read or palms coverage. 2 read is a pattern matching defense between the cornerback and safety. If both receivers run vertical routes, the defenders will play man coverage. If the outside receiver is running vertical, but the inside receiver is running an out route underneath, which is what the Rams are doing, the defense will pattern match. Cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon will drop his receiver to the safety and charge down on the slot receiver. You can even see him alerting the safety, telling him, "You have to bust your ass to the sideline to take this vertical because I'm about to drive down on this out route." If this was cover 3 zone like it seemed pre-snap, Goff would have had a wide open flat to throw to, but rolling 2 safeties at the snap tricks Goff for only a 4-yard gain. This defense is straight up dangerous. When we watch this film, it reminds me of the Eagles when they rode this wide 9 defense to the Super Bowl in 2017. This 49ers defense has everything. The size and speed up front necessary to generate a potent pass rush while simultaneously controlling the running game, linebackers twitchy enough to fill gaps while also reading their keys and playing pass coverage, and interchangeable safeties who play literally all over the field. This unit has no holes, none. It's not copying success from the past, it's creating success right now, and the rest of the league is still trying to catch up. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. Please like and subscribe in the bottom right so you can be notified of future episodes. A special shout out to my new Patreon supporters. It's awesome watching this channel grow with you guys, and I love interacting with this community that we built. I shared my big 5 picks against the spread on Patreon, and we came out on top 3-2, so we can take that money to the bank. If you want to join that Patreon page, just click the link below and get access to my picks and some extra stuff I throw on there. The other day, I had this video of Jameis Winston slipping and eating crap, and it was hilarious. Oh, and make sure you follow me on Twitter as well, at AlexRollinsNFL while you're at it. All right, see you next week.